And we're live. Hello, everyone.
Alright.
It's time for Monkey Brain to return. Hello, everyone. I'm Storm. That is Tom. We are back after a 2-week hiatus. Good to see y'all.
Yeah, good to see y'all too out there on the internet, out on these airwaves.
On these radio waves, on these pixels that are going through the screens. All right. So, today's topic music and serial killers. We're not going to go into too bad detail. We're just going to talk about the concept of them.
Yeah,
All right. So, Tom here doesn't know too much about serial killers,
not
but
at all.
I'm taking a criminalistics class and we're learning about them.
Hmm.
So, do you know what makes a serial killer? Just take a guess if you have
I'm
to.
guessing it's a person that has I believe like four maybe like four separate different killings that are not related or could be related. I'm not sure.
That's how they label them. If it's a spree killer, they do all these things in like a span of time or like a really short span of time. If it's a serial killer, they kill 3 people within a certain set of time after cooldowns.
Mm.
But what makes a serial killer?
I'm sorry, the way you fucking cool down on a kill.
No swearing. Anyways, cool down on a kill. Yes, that's what they call it. They call it a cooldown period. They actually. You want to turn your microphone to you?
Oh.
Oopsies.
There you go. All right. But you know what makes a serial killer? As in, what turns someone into a cold-blooded murderer?
I maybe like trauma, just natural psychopathic tendencies, maybe revenge, maybe just like bloodlust.
Those are all very valid reasons. The one that you got on the nose is trauma. What
Mm,
turns most people into serial killers is childhood trauma.
mm,
And most people, when they go through abuse or childhood traumas and such like that, what they usually happens is they get over it and become good, upstanding people. Thanks, phone. But for serial killers, is that they can't get past that. They start getting better, but at some point, they can't rise past their old traumas. They can't rise past any of it. So, what naturally go down is they go down the path of killing. That makes them feel good. They feel powerful. And the sloop is, once you kill someone, you get that satisfaction from it.
mm.
But then the satisfaction wasn't as what they thought. So they'd have a cooldown period trying to wash it off so they don't do it again. But that causes a depression, which makes them do it again. Killers like, what's a good killer to think of?
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. He couldn't come to terms with his own homosexuality. And the first time he was gonna murder someone was a dude who would jog down his road all the time. That one day he was gonna hit him in the back of the head with the bat and kill him. But the jogger didn't go that day, so he got lucky. Afterwards, he couldn't deal with the fact that he might have been gay, so he kept sleeping with women and killing them. He just couldn't get over it. It kept going faster and faster spree, and it got crazy. John Wayne Gacy, Bogey the Clown, the guy who made It, he didn't have his alcoholic father was abusive, and his mother was a escort. That's a nice way to put it. And they were abusive to him. They were so evil to him. And when he finally left the house, he started a business. It did good at first. He had a family and everything. And when the business started, that's when he started killing children and hiding them under his basement.
Oh wow.
And he went as a clown to try to keep people from thinking it was him, because clowns can't kill no one. You know what the true horror is about serial killers? The fact that they're just like any other person, and that most serial killers are very charming.
I wonder if that just comes from like you have zero like you are so almost like smug
Yeah.
that you have this like no inhibition, no holds barred, like like feeling that you're what you're doing, you're going to like kill this person, and you're going to feel good about it, and they don't know, so you're gonna be like, yes.
It might also be like a confidence thing, or like because you killed someone. What's more ballsy than killing someone? You know, in cold blood in these modern times. So everyone is just thinking, yeah, I know what I'm doing, and they've learned who they are, and that becomes their motive, their MO. Now, okay, are you familiar with Ed Gein,
I am not.
grandfather of Gore, ghoul of Plainfield, butcher of Plainfield?
I am not.
He was the inspiration for the entire Psycho movie. His mother was abusive to him. His father died at a young age. His brother died of mysterious causes in a fire. And when they went to his place, they found horrifying things. I can't say it here because we were specifically told not to. But he made the basis for Norman Bates of the Psycho movies. Their motives are the exact same. The director didn't even know about Ed Gein's crimes until afterwards, what he did, but it was spot on. Norman Bates dressed up, had like a huge like Oedipus complex for his mom, and he would dress up as his mom to complete himself, to the point where she became someone completely different.
Wow.
So there was two separate people in one guy's body, to the point where his mom was the dominant personality over his own self. And he would kill people as his mother to complete himself, to protect himself as his mother would from women. That's exactly what Ed Gein's mom did.
Wow.
And Ed Gein would use his victims to dress up as his own mother. And he would jump around and prance around in his front yard at night, pretending to be his mother. And when they found out what he had done, they took him in and they auctioned off all his stuff. Now, what was auctioned off was macabre. I can't go too much detail, but they were made of human body parts.
Wow.
He had bowls made from human skulls. It was terrible, and they auctioned up. People actually bought that.
Wow. I mean, there are some people that are, I guess you could call them fans of serial killers. Like I know a lot of people that are very much so into like media pertaining to serial killers because they just find it fascinating.
Those are going to be people who become serial killers.
No, those are the kind of people that go into like criminal justice or like psychology.
What? That was cool.
Yeah,
that sounded like something from like an actual serial killer show,
like a horror movie, like
Yeah,
like a Foley effect for like when the stinger happens, and he's like, and then he like stabbed his spleen.
that sounds like they finally discovered who the serial killer was, and he's like standing in like the back of like a dark
Murder.
and then he was dead. That kind of puts it in perspective. Okay, so you know how campfire stories are seen like cheesy now?
Yeah.
Like how they're seen as like they put the flashlight like, and then his hook went into her face. But now for your listeners, like, it sucks. I hate this. But think of it like back in like the serial killers back in the 80s, and you were telling that to people. TV wasn't as big as it was now. It was not anything else. So those are actually still really scary, right?
Yeah.
I want to go back to a simpler time where you could tell the campfire story and make little Jimmy run to the river to clean his pants. Give me your best, the Halloween theme? Yeah.
I don't actually. So, I am terrible at the guitar. It's been a very long time since I played the guitar. I want to go back to practicing it, over the summer when we have time. I'm much better at the piano because I played the piano for a very long time and I took classes to play the piano for a very long time. So I am not 100% on my actual note on individual notes on the guitar. I know a lot of chords, and that's kind of it.
Oh, you know the basics. You need to know what you know. Oh, and also this is something else. Tom makes music on what was it, a synthesizer?
Yeah, I would love to own physical synthesizers, but they're very expensive. And so I use a lot of software ones that I've paid for myself. And I'm very self-conscious about my music. So what I'll end up doing is I'll start something and I get like 20, I'll get like a couple hours into it and I go, man, I don't like this. And then I'll just like scrap it and start again.
Ah, that's what Jack did. Jack, my roommate, he had his own little music career. He called himself Imperfect. Uh, I am in parentheses and then perfect. He was trying to be an emo rapper. Uh,
That sounds like Jack.
he tried to be an emo rapper, and he could make pretty okay beats. He knew what he was doing when he made the beats. It's just he wasn't very good at singing his lyrics. He wasn't singing per se. He was trying to rap it, but he's new to it. You know, when you're new to the game, you don't know what you're doing. And he saved a couple songs, and he got a couple hundred views
Oh wow.
on some of his songs on Spotify. Um,
Oh wow, he put it on Spotify. He made like 5 cents.
yeah, he's rising up there, and I showed one of his songs to Jacob Cooperman. He's one of the big guys around campus. I showed it to him, and he's like, "Oh, cool, Jack's making music. Sure." He's listening to it, has like just a blank face the entire time. It's just and then I'm just looking. I'm just, you don't like it, huh? No. And Jack just stopped making music. I'm telling him to go back into it. I think you should go back to making music. Keep making music. You
I would like to. That was something else I have planned to do over the summer because me, Storm, and a friend of ours are going to be moving into an apartment. And so I'm gonna bring all my shit up. Right. Can't say that. I'm apologies.
funny word number
My
2.
stuff up. And so I'm gonna have all my music equipment up with me. So I will I'll have all the time, a bunch of time to work on my music when I'm not working at my job back home. So
Why don't you tell everyone what kind of music you make?
oh, I make I like electronic music, but it's not like 4 on the floor dance music. It's like
Killian just walked by. That was terrifying.
no,
Did you guys see that?
the camera ain't pointing toward the window.
The camera is pointing towards. Killian just walked by without his hat. That was terrifying. He's gonna run at me in my dreams in like a dark corridor and like say "Go guys!" and he's gonna fuck. See, now I'm doing it. He's gonna rip my head off like a mask guy. He's gonna wear it.
I like like ambient, but also like if you think like Aphex Twin, but also like Autiker, but also like Boards of Canada, which
Okay.
are random electronic music artists I know.
What's your favorite game soundtrack?
My favorite game soundtrack? That's a hard question because there is a lot of good music in video games. People don't seem to like no, a lot of people don't really understand that don't play video games is that video games are like a full audio visual experience. It's more than just the graphics, it's more than just the gameplay. There's the audio, there's of course the UI, which is its own art form. There's sound design. There's a lot of oral parts of making video games, and a lot of people don't think about that. And I think it's one of the most make or break parts of a game for me because if a game is good but the soundtrack sucks, I'm gonna be just
Bored out of
I don't
my
want to be
mind.
I don't want to play this. Give me some music to listen to. Give me something that's going to make me feel like a fish. No, sorry.
Don't get me talking about that makes you feel like a fish.
Something that's gonna make me feel like I'm
A fish.
Like it's going to make me immersed, or it's going to make me pepped up, or it's going to make me,
Sage.
no, I wouldn't want. It's sad. Something that fits the mood of the game.
Hmm.
So personally, one of my favorite game soundtracks is Hollow Knight.
It's all dramatic.
It is very dramatic. It's very ambient, but it's also it's very mysterious. But when it gets intense, it gets intense. It is gorgeous. It is foreboding. It is it's amazing. It sets the scene.
I like Red Dead 2 soundtrack. I've been playing that a lot. But it's ambient when it needs to be. It's like the old Western banjo, sometimes the guitars. But when it's action packed, it sounds like a fistful of dollars, or like Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And you hear like these electric guitar riffs, and it just feels like
Is it
Wild
electric
West
or
cowboy.
acoustic?
Electric,
Oh wow, okay.
because acoustic was for old westerns and electric was for newer westerns.
I didn't know that.
It's a motif kind of thing. It's like uh it depends on when the when the set takes place. But if it's like very beginning, like Civil War times, then it's like the acoustic guitar. But if it's near the 1900s, that's when they bring out the electric guitar.
Oh wow, that's fascinating. I
Because
didn't
it
know
goes with
that.
the theme. It's supposed to bring out like the more modern stuff.
But like,
What about that Elden Ring soundtrack?
I was about to bring that up. I was literally just about to bring that up. Elden Ring's soundtrack is very ambient, depending on where you are in the game. Its ambience fits what you're doing, and then the combat music, it will slide seamlessly in, and it's very, very. It definitely sets the mood, is what I'll say, and the mood it definitely sets the mood based on the location you're in. If catacombs sound the audio in the catacombs location sound more haunting. The audio in like the starting area sounds kind of wistful almost.
And the boss fight music.
The boss fight music's always dramatic.
It's
It's
always-
always symphonic, following the
How do these Japanese developers who are making a game based off of Europe make better opera than the Europeans who did it? It's so good.
So one of my favorite locations, it's the Poison Swamp. I'm not going to say the name because it's I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But there's the Poisonous Swamp area, and it's very, very almost eldritch
Ooh.
in design, because it's all like giant. It's all like rotted mushrooms, and it's almost like it feels like the whole place is just rotting. The sky is blood red. There's just trees falling apart in the background. The swamp itself is blood red, and there's all of these like there's just pestilence and mushrooms and
Can mushrooms rot?
I would say they can. They're a natural.
I thought they were a byproduct of rot, and they
No, mushrooms are they're fungi, which they're detritivores. They feed off of rotting material.
Yeah.
But they're living things, so they they can rot. If you've ever left mushrooms in your fridge for long enough, you'll see that they start withering and.
Oh, I thought that was just them getting dry and withery. I didn't know that was actually rot.
That's them. That's them breaking down. But
something new.
It's very, very tense. The audio in this location is very, very tense. It's very, very on edge. It's got it's almost like scored like a horror movie, or like
that's cool.
Like I was saying before, certain areas in Hollow Knight, specifically Deep Nest, where the audio is specifically made to put you on edge, using very, very high, it's almost stuttery like string instruments.
Oh.
Where I can almost try to mimic the sound, because you'll recognize it, where it's like,
oh,
it's kind of like that, but it's
probably with a violin or like a viola.
The violin, where it's very, very high, it's in the background, it fades in and out.
Yeah,
and
it builds tension.
It builds tension. That's the whole point. Is it builds tension, and it is
just beautiful.
It's beautiful in itself, because if the music, the audio, the sound design can make you feel that way, it's doing its job.
I think this is like kind of changing subject, but music in itself is like the ultimate media form, I'd say, besides reading. Because music, think of Everywhere at the End of the Time.
Oh God.
That song, that song is supposed to be a representation of having dementia.
It's not
And
a song, it's a full album.
it's a full album.
So for anyone that doesn't know it, early last year, I think it was, or was it 2020?
It was 2019, 2020. Yeah, it was 2020.
So in 2020, there was an album that came out that was 8 hours long, and it was created as a representation of the stages of dementia. And it is meant to be listened to all at once in one sitting, and it starts out very, very very nostalgic, very, very, oldies to like represent the beginning of like the end, and then it starts fading and turning into noise, echoey.
Some of the music, some of the notes disappear. You'll notice it, but it's hard to notice unless you're not paying
It,
attention.
they try to fit the leitmotifs or the melodies of the songs in such a way that you almost recognize them, but you don't.
And then even the artwork for it is supposed to show that some of it looks like it's like concrete paper that's like folding and breaking. One of them is like just a piece of like drywall with like a square, like a taped
That's
square
actually
on
not what
it.
that is. Well, that's for the fourth act of the album, the end. And that is a paint that is a what they would mount a painting on it. That
Mhm.
is something they would mount a painting on without the painting.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the entire album, it's
Uh
just
yeah,
white noise and
the last like hour is harsh white noise. But that's a big but.
that's a
Um
big butt.
this if you're interested in this, you should go listen to it and ignore the next couple things I say or mute the audio. But for the last 5 minutes of the album is a pure gospel choir, which is supposed to be interpreted in, well, you're not really supposed, there's no specific way to interpret it, but most people interpret it as either terminal lucidity, which is a condition in when someone with dementia for the last couple like days of their life, they suddenly regain all faculties,
Hmm.
or it's supposed to represent a choir of angels from from the heaven or from the heavens.
Either of which are really sad.
Yeah.
And that hits hard for me because my grandma died of dementia, and that I would listen to the whole album afterwards, and like, but like halfway through, like I was comparing what stage it was compared to where my grandmother went through in her journey of dementia, and at like hour 2 or 3, I was like already bawling my eyes out because like this is what my grandmother went through. This is crazy. And then the very end, I was confused as all can be by the choir of angels. But then you told me it was the terminal lucidity of the last couple days of life, and that made me remember about how for about like 4 or 5 days before she died, my aunt could remember everything that she had forgotten.
I thought you said it was your grandma.
My grandma, sorry,
Oh.
I said aunt because my aunt was there. She didn't remember my aunt.
Oh wow.
She didn't remember her own daughter as her daughter. She thought she was her mom, but the last couple of days she remembered everything that she had forgotten. She remembered that my father was alive. She thought my father was dead. She remembered that she had a husband. She remembered that she was an old woman. She forgot she was old. She remembered my niece was born in it. And that when that told me, I was like, that put a huge lump in my throat. I was like, oh my god. Ooh.
That's something fascinating to me because that state of terminal lucidity, it biologically should not happen, and no one knows why it happens.
That's cool.
Because when you're in that state in dementia, the pathways have become tangled. They don't work. The pathways don't work anymore, and they shouldn't work by I could be completely wrong here, but by the way we understand how the brain works, it should not work. They should not
Yeah.
work ever again.
Mhm.
And so no one knows why that happens.
That's cool.
That could be evidence of something. There be more to us than what biologically is part of
Yeah.
us. There's a soul or
An
something,
afterlife, a soul.
which would be nice
That's very nice. That puts a lot of hope in people. Really.
because it puts a lot of hope in me because
Oh, hey, everyone's here.
I just lost my father a couple of weeks ago, and
We
which
lost a real one.
yeah, shout out to Dad.
It's good that you're able to say that.
And it sucks, but
It puts hope in your mind.
it puts hope in me because it's been making me think about a lot. And I personally, I know this is changing topics completely from where we started. It makes me want to believe in there's to be something more than what we know there is. And we don't have any evidence that there isn't. We don't have any evidence that there is. So
But there's little hints like that that give us that hope. That gives us the shreds of hope that we need.
yeah.
And on that positive note, we end it here. Everyone, be happy, be grateful. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Yeah.